That is a straight flush draw. Makes me almost as happy as flopping trips. 230 doll hairs. If villain 4 bets or 5 bets, we shall get it in. Flopping an open ender, overcards, backdoor flush draw. This is quite a nice board. Subscribe now to a front row seat for expert hand analysis and world-class cash game strategy. King Jack off, going to be open from the cutoff. Top pair is pretty nice, a rainbow board. Probably going to start out with a small bet, assuming that our villain checks. Board pairing turn, so I want to be able to target their 8x, potentially get check raised by some straight draws, maybe backdoor flush draws. So I think on the board pairing turn, I'm actually going to bet half pot and go for probably an overbet on the river, on most rivers, I would imagine. Maybe not a flush completing river. I might size down to 75% or so, but yeah, just going to try to target their bluff catchers, potentially get raised on the turn. 5 of clubs, pretty clear run out. Going to be over betting for value. Villain donks a third, which is fairly unexpected. I don't think this is going to be a bluff that often. Probably something like blocking with 8-9, 7-8, maybe a 5 with diamonds, but gonna raise big and yeah, just target all their bluff catchers that are potentially blocking here. We have, you know, a lot of potential bluffs in our range, and villain pays us off, so happy day. So pocket 8, gonna be open from the cutoff. Big blind defends. Gonna be starting out with a big bet here. I think we can get called by many hands. Tray 4, just any 6, any 7. Pocket 4s, pocket 5s, probably any 3, and potentially hands like 9, 10, you know, gut shots plus overcards, maybe some, you know, backdoor flush draws with overcards. So have a large range of hands that can call that we're doing quite well against. King of spades on the turn. I'm not going to be betting 3 streets for value here. You know, we block the straight draws, so 8, 9, and 8, 10. So villains gonna have fewer straight draws to call us with. Jack of hearts on the turn. A facing bet, we probably polarize. Facing an overbet, just folding the river again. Like, we block their straight draws, so it's hard for them to have a ton of natural bluffs. They probably need to be turning a pair into a bluff with their overbet, and I just don't think they're doing that often. So yeah, 3-betting the 10s here, facing a cutoff open. We'll certainly be calling the jam if the big blind does put in their $269. It's a nice amount of dollars. So the cutoff calls, ace 8-5 rainbow. I think this is a board where we could bet. Our hand does want to deny some equity from their Broadway hands, king, queen, king, jack, queen, jack, those types of hands. So we could start out with a third here. We could also check. I think that I'm going to lean towards checking back and try to play turns and rivers pretty accordingly. 5 pairing on the turn doesn't really change very much. I guess villains may have some like 5-6 suited, 4-5 suited, but shouldn't really do very much for them. So if villain does bet, we will be calling. If villain checks, we're probably going to be betting like a third and then check back river. Seems fairly reasonable. Get some value from 8x and their pocket pairs. So yeah, facing 75% or whatever, we're going to be calling. 7 of spades on the river. Because we check back some ace king, ace queens, ace jacks, ace tens, maybe some like ace 3, ace deuce, we do have a fair amount of ace x in our check back range. So I don't necessarily know that we need to call a bet, but villain checks and don't have to make that decision. So there we go. Opening ace 8 of spades from the low jack. Have our white belt friend who decides to tag along from the button. We'll probably be calling if one of the blinds squeezes and hoping our friend joins us, but instead we'll just flop top pair, top kicker, and start out by betting a third. I think villain's going to call pretty wide. They will fold very, very few hands here facing a third, so I'm going to start with a third, and then I'm going to have a lot of options on the turn in the river. 10 of diamonds. I think I'm going to check and start calling. If villain checks behind, then we'll certainly be placing a value bet. Now we're just going to call with our 8 and pretty much call most bets villain makes on the river if villain does go ahead and bet. Villain declines and we take it down. Opening 8s from the cutoff. We will be calling that 3-bet, assuming the 6 seat doesn't give us the old cold 4. All right. 8, please. I guess it's second best thing. We have a gut shot with our pair, so 9-7-5. Certainly we'll be calling a bet. Now we have a double gut shot, so a 6 or a 10 gives us a straight. Facing delayed over bet is a pretty rare line, but because we have a pair double gut shot, we can't really fold. Rivering a straight is nice, so now we just hope they put the rest of the money in the middle. Trying to target queen jack, but they check behind, so say la vie. Opening 2 kings from the low jack. Getting 3-bet versus the cutoff at 150 bigs. We shall be 4-betting our kings, assuming that the blinds fold. All right, so going to be 4-betting to 23 big blinds, 230 doll hairs. If villain 4-bets or 5-bets, we shall get it in. Not the 5-bet size we're looking for, but it is what it is. Can't even hit a diamond, huh? Opening jack 10 of clubs. We have potentially another white belt who posted in the cutoff. Don't know many regs that post in the cutoff. If you're such a reg, I guess let me know in the comments. The 4-seat squeezes. We shall defend. They do not squeeze, they opt to flat. Flopping an open ender, overcards, backdoor flush draw. This is quite a nice board. 3 ways. Not going to be betting a ton, but this hand just very naturally falls into hands that, I'm going to be betting. If I'm betting like aces, if I'm betting maybe a set of 8s, then need some of these hands to balance out my range. So jack 10 of clubs is just fits nicely. Can get it in with a 2-seat. Not really much bad can happen with this specific combo. Villain tank puts in the raise. Again, pretty easy call. Going to be calling most bets that Villain makes here on the turn with our open-ender. Pretty unlikely they have backdoor diamonds, so I think even the Queen of Diamonds and the Seven of Diamonds is going to be obviously pretty good for us, and we'll have pretty much the nuts. Half pot is, yeah, just the slammiest slam dunk call of them all. Alas, no 7, no queen. Man, if Villain checks, then, man, if we bet, what would we be targeting, like Queen Jack, something like that? I don't expect them to check very much. And there you go. They bet a third. Nothing we can do, but try to hit next time. King 9 of spades from the hijack. Our white belt friend calls. That's nice. Please don't jam, Mr. Two-Seat. Our white belt friend and the 3-seed calls too. If the 4-seed squeezes, we will almost certainly be calling the squeeze. That is a straight flush draw. That makes me almost as happy as flopping trips. So checking range, and now we'll start betting the turn, betting half pot 3 ways. Maybe a Queen of Spades action? That'd be not the worst. 6 of Diamonds, not so great. I do think that we need to bluff with our King 9 of Spades. We lose to some of the, nut flush draws, some of like King Queen. If they don't bet those on the turn, maybe like a 5 that they have, or pocket 7s or pocket 8s or some kind of 10. So basically targeting everything that isn't top pair, and gonna size accordingly with 2x pot to try to make sure that it gets the job done, and it did get the job done. Ace King of Spades in the small blind facing a button open. If they 4-bet, we go on a 5-bet. Top pair, top kicker. Gonna start out with a small bet here on ace high. Once Villain calls on the 4, I think, clearly we could go 3 streets for value, but gonna check the turn and decide on river. 6 of hearts. I think I'm going to check the river too. I think their ace X that I would be targeting with a bet, probably going to value bet themselves. So would rather go for a check raise here, and it's going to kind of depend on the size that they use. If they bet like over bet, then I'm probably not going to check jam. If they bet 75% or less, that's really yeah, I think only a6 is what I'm worried about. So yeah, just gonna check jam here and target their ace X and hope to get the crying call. Not the crying call kind of day. Queens on the button. Facing 3-bet, I believe that we are just going to call this one. Sort of a dicey board, deuce, straight 4. All of their ace jack, ace king, ace 10s, those hands have quite a bit of equity, actually. They, like a hand like ace king is going to have 10 outs, so like 40%. Ace jack's going to have at around 30%. So I believe that we're just going to start by raising the flop and attempting to play for all the money if villain has a hand like ace jack of hearts, as well as potentially getting value from their worse overpairs, sevens through jacks. If they have aces or kings, then obviously we're in Bone City. They have ace five. It's not so great, but I think there's plenty that we can get value from. And yeah, just gonna raise and try to play for all the chippies here. The villain does not want to play for all the chippies. Queen jack of spades. Pretty hand. Our white belt friend goes ahead and squeezes. We shall not be deterred. Top pair is not the worst. We have a backdoor flush draw as well, which is also not the worst. So certainly we'll be continuing, and certainly we'll be continuing facing such a small bet. Turning the backdoor flush draw. Now we get to call facing turn bets. Villain checks. We're going to check behind, try to realize our equity. We can still, put all the money in if we do make a backdoor flush. And now we just get to go ahead and call this, whatever it is, 60% pot size bet on the river. And lose to ace queen. Don't miss out on our next great poker adventure. Hit that subscribe button and join the CPG family.
This is Chasing Poker Greatness with your host, Brad Wilson. Coach Brad approved. Are you a lone wolf searching for the ultimate pack? The CPG Wolf program is a close-knit brotherhood hell-bent on one thing only: chasing poker greatness. Powered by bleeding-edge wolf strats and led by Coach Brad and his lieutenants, CPG Wolves are systematically prepared for almost any spot they'll encounter on the green felt. If you want to plug into an elite team and have a step-by-step game plan to realize your full poker potential, you can apply at cpgwolves.com. Space is limited, and the pack is only as strong as its weakest member. So only the hungriest, grittiest, and most driven will be accepted into the program. Applications are open at cpgwolves.com.